Today we're going to go over the German all-round doctrine first, starting off with the Volksgrenadiers. These guys are a call-in that I have a lot of problems with. The main issue being opportunity cost. When you grab these guys, it will start a timer for the other two call-ins. Because these guys are so weak, you have to compare them very harshly against these other two call-ins, and I believe these other two call-ins are much better. You do get a Panzer Schreck and 2 Rifle Grenadiers. These Grenadiers also have 20 high explosive grenades each, so if you can micro well, you can get a lot of value from them. I really struggle with that. I find them very difficult to use, and I usually don't have the spare APM to babysit them. But for that reason, they're going in C tier, mainly because of the opportunity cost. They are priced fairly fair, like that's not bad, but the opportunity cost of losing out on either of these is very big, so I have to put it C tier. Next, we have the 2 centimeter scout car. This thing is not especially good. It falls off very quickly. About 2 or 3 minutes after you buy it, it's going to be fairly useless. You can take a light or you can fight like vehicles. It's pretty inaccurate, so I wouldn't count on it, but you can, and it has great acceleration, so it can be used as a scout car to mop up infantry that are overextending. So for that reason, I think B tier is fair. Next, we got the Puma with the 5 centimeter. This thing is really good. This thing's exceptionally good at infantry, or killing infantry. A lot of people don't realize that. Loaded with HE, this thing basically gets a kill every shot, so it can quickly start getting imp kills. You can use it almost like a mobile field gun to clear out guys from foxholes, especially if you get an elevated position. This thing's pretty fast, top speed, but it has really poor acceleration. You definitely think it's going to be faster than it actually is, so just keep that in mind. It's a little slower than in your imagination. But in any case, it's a very good vehicle. I'm going to put it A tier, probably low A tier. It can take out medium tanks if you're very careful and you play sneaky, and it'll just shred light tanks and light vehicles. So it's very good. Low A tier for sure. 20 centimeter mortar. I think all the mortars I find pretty similar. And then their costs are quite similar. They're good in urban maps, just like any mortar. This mortar isn't anything special. Pretty big explosion, and this one is towable, which I do like. So if you're getting a lot of, if you're going to lose the area, you can pull this back pretty easy, which I do like. Or potentially if a bomber is coming, you can quickly grab it. So I think a B tier is fair. Arty Signaler. Normally, on the Russian Doctrine, I put the Arty Signaler in B, but the Allies have a lot more infantry spam, so I think it's justified for it to be A. For the German Arty, even though it's functionally the same. You're going to be dealing with lots of Arty spam with USA and Russia, so it's a pretty good call-in. Next, we have the Jagdpanzer 4, and we have to directly compare this one to the Jagdpanzer 4 early, which is 20 points cheaper. You do lose a little bit of armor from this one, but it's the same gun. It has functionally the same, hitbox. It's completely very similar. I think there's a track blocking, maybe the new one, but on the front transmission. But overall, I think this is overpriced. I think this should be 50 DP. So for that reason, I'm going to put it C tier. If you do get it, along with the early version, it is very good in a hull down position. It's one of the best tanks to put in a hull down position. The silhouette of the tank fits perfectly. Your tracks are completely covered, and only a tiny bit of your chassis or whatever the top part of your tank will be sticking out. So very good for hull down, but overall not great. Could be cheaper. Arty, I don't like any of the towed Arty. I think they're all pretty poor. By the time you set them up, choose a target, you have to keep them moving. So much APM is required to use them. In a big team game, I can see them being useful, but for 1v1s, they're literally useless. 2v2s, maybe you can start 2v2s and up maybe, but overall, I'm not super impressed with the towed Arty of any variety. I think anything that's a wheeled Arty that launches all of its rockets or all of its payload, clears an area out, then you can push in is a lot better than sort of attrition-based towed Arty, which I'm not a big fan of. So that's why I'm putting in D tier. You're free to disagree with me if you're an Arty player. That's completely fine. But for me, all the towed Arty, I find I don't get much value from, and they're so easy to get killed, and they require too much APM to babysit, and I'm not a fan of them. So next, we got the Jagdpanther. I'm also not a fan of this thing. This is going to be another hot take, I think. I think this is C tier. The issue with it is it's very expensive, and there's a critical error that the game presents in that the stupid AI in this game will turn this tank The gun has very little transversal, so it'll move the entire tank like 30 degrees, and that'll open up the sides of this tank, and the top side of this tank, like where the gun is housed, has pretty crappy armor and it's not angled well. And even a gun of like lower tier, like a normal Sherman at like 30 degrees, can pen this. So that's why I don't like this tank. If you babysit it, that problem's not going to exist. But if you're babysitting it, then your entire rest of your line's probably crumbling. So it's a hard sell for me. 100 is pretty expensive too. It's a great tank, but that issue is so huge, the AI issue, that I can't put it anywhere higher than C. Which that's where I'm going to put it. So this rocket half track is pretty good. It's one thing I like about it is it comes with 2 MGs, which is pretty nice. Just a little insurance policy in case there's someone sneaking up on you. But hopefully you will never need to use them. But I think it's pretty good. I think it's B tier. Um, Super huge explosion, fairly good reload time, and it's mobile and it's armored. So that's what I'm really looking for in an arty. And it's pretty good. I enjoy using it. It's B tier. And that's all round. Next, we got defense. We'll start with the Goliath and the 2 engineers. This is sort of suffers from the same thing as the Volksgrenadier, where it's the opportunity cost is the big issue. So early game, you definitely want to be getting this first. Mid game, especially if you're in a map where there's a center area with like an indestructible building where there's lots of infantry grouped around, you can get some value from it, but it is quite hard. They do die quite easy, and their pathfinding is not great. So I'm going to put them C tier. They're just more of a meme than anything. The 2 engineers that come with it as well. If you get it early, you can put up excuse me, a tank barrier on a road and be kind of annoying that way. But overall, not my favorite column. I think C is fair. Next, we got the 3.7 flak. I think this is super low A tier, pretty good for area denial, and it's way more shielded than most flaks. That it can actually bounce quite a bit of small arms before the crew gets killed. And it's a good area denial tool. So what you do is you buy that, pick an area, and then foxhole it up and mine it up, and then that's basically your area probably for the entire map. So it's good to get a stronghold early. So A tier is fair. It's a good unit. Next, this might be surprising. I think this is S tier. This is literally the same cannon that you can call in from the normal just any call in. It's just 7.5. The thing is, you can get it so early, and there's really nothing that can deal with it other than another field gun, which your enemy probably can't afford. So the real power of this unit is that you can call it in so early, and then you can just, for another 2 minutes or whatever, once you call it in, nothing can touch it, and it's just going to be every 10 seconds killing an infantry, and it's just a tax the enemy has to pay or pull out. So it's very good. Another thing that it comes with 4 elite infantry. A lot of people don't realize that the cart that it comes in has 4 infantry, and I believe it's 3 Panzerfaust. They come with the late model, which is really good. That has really good range. So that's actually not nothing in the early game. So having three or 4 of those early is actually pretty good. They're almost like a Panzer Faust, but they're a Panzer Schreck that's late war, very good. So S tier, this is really good. Just get it early game. It falls off immediately. I would never get it after the first purchase, but for the first purchase, it can really give you a good early game advantage. A 12 centimeter. I feel like this is a big explosion radius nerf for only 5 DP. So, I mean, this would be might be C tier, but it's so close. Honestly, whatever you're gonna hit is probably gonna die anyway. Like if it's infantry, so I don't really see a huge difference in the mortar. Especially maybe the Russian huge one. Maybe that's especially big, but I don't find these function too differently. So I think B tier and probably low to mid B tier is fair. Next we have the Jagdpanzer IV early. I actually really like this thing. This thing's really good value for 40 DP. You get basically a Panzer IV with a pretty good silhouette, and just like the late war version, super good in hull down. Like maybe the only tank that I would even bother putting hull down, but it's really good hull down. Just hold an area. Yeah, I don't have too much to say about it, but it's just a solid tank. It does have less armor than this one, but for 40 DP, it's actually pretty good. So I'm going to put it to B tier, and probably pretty high B tier. I'm actually pretty impressed with this vehicle. It usually gets pretty good value. 8.8 flak. This thing is not very good. I've tried a lot. I've experimented a lot to try to use them. Basically, as soon as the enemy sees you've got one, they're going to avoid that area, and then eventually quickly this thing's going to be focused for arty. So it's only a matter of time. Will you get 55 DP value from it before that happens? I doubt it. I've tried really hard. It's very slow and cumbersome to remove, so you get one shot and then you got to move it, and it's sort of buggy and sort of just, yeah, it's not fun to use. I struggle getting value with it, and I've tried quite a bit. So it's going in C tier and pretty low C tier. I want to like it, but it's hard to use and hard to get value from. Next we get another Arty, heavy Arty. It's going to go here in D tier. I don't think they're very good. I think they're hard to get value from as well. And that's all I got to say about it. It's just another heavy Arty. This Rocket Arty also go in C tier. I don't think it's very good. The extra micro having to attach it and then move it and unattach it is really a killer. It also doesn't have the biggest payload compared to the half track ones. So yeah, I don't really like it. It's also super vulnerable, not being armored at all. If you do get it, I would suggest you ditch the truck that it comes in and then buy a half track to move it, so at least you will be a little more protected, or that you can pull it away so that if the driver dies in the truck, you're not out 80 DP. So I'm not a fan of this. I think D tier is fair. I'm sure some people will disagree with that, but that's okay. You're welcome to your opinion. Next, we've got the Ferdinand. I think this is probably high A. It does suffer from the same problem as the Ag Panther. The saving grace, though, is that this armor up here is sloped and thicker, sloped better, and it's thicker, so it actually doesn't. Even a 30-degree angle will not be penned by low tier stuff. It has to go basically 90 degree for an easy pen, so that's why I like this better than the Jagdpanzer. It's pretty good. It does need to be babysat, just like the Jagdpanzer. You can't. It will do stupid stuff if you just leave it alone. So, but it doesn't have the glaring weakness that this does. So, if you don't believe me, go in and test yourself how easy it is to pen these side skirts, and it will turn just for the stupidest stuff. It'll turn for look at a motorbike 1,000 miles away and get killed. So, not a fan of this, and that's defense. There's some pretty solid stuff here. I like some of the stuff at defense. Next, we've got irregular. Straight off the bat, this 50 kilogram bomb is going right to S plus. So good. Able to kill medium tanks that are tracked. Able to kill light Vics that are causing you a problem. Able to kill emplacements. Able to kill infantry buses, like emplacements, trench lines, anything. It's just a Swiss Army knife, and it's almost, if you're competent, it's impossible not to get value from it. That's really all I have to say about it. This dual machine gun, Panzer II, I don't really like it. There's a lot better uses for 15 DP, and if you compare it to other things that cost 15 DP, it's just a straight up downgrade. It does have a little more armor than some of them, but honestly, I don't really like it very much. I think low C, maybe high D. I think you can make a case for being low C, so I can see it being here, but it's not a great unit. I would avoid getting. Speaking of which, the Flame Panzer. This is a hard one to rank. You do get it on phase 1, and that's the only reason why it's going to not be D tier. It doesn't have a main gun. Its flame range is not very high, and the turret transversal speed is pretty slow. So you have to get close. It can't turn quickly. So this thing is just fodder to be bazookaed. I think it has to be in bazooka range basically to fire. So it can be useful. It is super cheap, so that is okay. I want to put it in high C. I think is fair, because these can be spammable and you can get value from them, but it is easy to lose these very easily. Okay, next we got the Brandenburg. I think I rated the Russian Special Forces C. I think these guys are quite a bit better. You get way more Panzerfausts. Instead of 2 bazookas, I think you get like 5 Panzerfausts or something on these guys, so that's a lot better for me. I'd rather spread that out, because these guys are sneaky anyway, so it's perfect. Overall, I don't like these special troops very much. I like the American ones, but we'll get to those eventually. But these ones are still not great. I'd probably put them. I think I put the other guys in low C tier. I think these guys are probably mid T tier. They're still nothing special, and I'd rather just get scouts for better vision, honestly. Next, we got the Command Panzer IV. I don't know how to feel about this thing. It's sort of similar to the Jagdpanzer IV early, so I think I'd probably put it in there. You do get an extra MG guy on the top and better defense against heat rounds, because you get side skirts. But overall, pretty much exactly the same as the Jagdpanzer early, but maybe more geared for offense. So I'm going to put it right next to there in B tier, which I think is fair. It's pretty good value for 40 DP. It's not bad at all. Next, we got the 15 centimeter field gun. This thing's kind of interesting. It's I would use it as a field gun killer. So this, like for example, this gun here has a 160 range. Well, this one here has a 170, so you'll be, and most field guns have 160, so you can outrange almost all field guns and beat them. So that's a big advantage. So, and it also has a large explosion, although it does have a long reload animation. So I'm probably going to put this in. I'm probably going to put this in C as well. It's pretty niche. But when you do need, if you need something to kill a field gun, there's nothing. This is what you need. So that's basically, it's basically a hard counter to field guns, and that's about it. And it'll then it takes the place of a field gun basically, but a little better. Heavy airstrike, that's going to go in S. Really good. Take out any heavy tank. Make sure you track them, engine them, or decrew them. Can also take out big emplacements if you decrew them, but I save it for super heavy tanks mostly. So S tier, easy to get value from. Next, we got the Tiger Ace, and I don't like this thing. I really don't like this thing. I think it's too expensive for what you get. At the end of the day, it's just a Tiger. It's not a super heavy tank. If you look at the price difference from just a King Tiger to this, do I want to pay just 30 more DP and get a super heavy tank, or do I want this one? This one's definitely got a higher skill cap. If you're really good at the game, you can make better use of it than just the King Tiger, because it's more skill dependent. You've got a faster reload and all that stuff. But overall, I'm not a super big fan of these aced out heavy tanks. I think they're a little expensive. I would like to see them like at 80. I think that'd be more fair. But 90 is just asking a little too much. So I think they're going to go C. It's going to go C for this Tiger here. Yeah. Next, we got this guy. It suffers a lot of the same things as the Nimble Warfer does, except this one has a bigger explosion, but you're paying a little more for it. I think this is also going D tier. It's so hard to keep these things alive. By the time you fire your salvo, if the enemy has any RD, they're going to be counter battering you, and because it takes for you so long to fire your load, you're going to be dead. Another issue is this thing has pretty crappy range, so you're only about 50 meters out from being hit by tanks, and if it's a super heavy tank, it's only 30 meters out from hitting you. So by the time you fire, enemies can easily close the distance. So this thing is extremely hard to keep alive. It does hit pretty hard, but just like all these RD, it's really hard to use them and get value of them. If you disagree, I'd like you to look at how many kills your RD is getting, and is it getting this much DP worth? I mean, I doubt it. I honestly doubt it, because that would be like 50 kills at least to make it worth it. Infantry kills, I should say. Next, we got the scout car. Well, this is actually that's it for that Doctrine. There you go. That's irregular. Okay, next we got offense. There's some high quality stuff in offense, one of the best. Starting with the scout car, and this thing is S plus, 200 meter range in front of you in a wide arc for vision. Is extremely powerful. Also comes with a machine gun on top, which is shouldn't be used. It's basically just a vision center, is what it is, and it's really powerful. It's S plus. So you can. There's no way not to get value from this. It's super low skill cap. You just put it on your flank and you can see 200 meters, which is incredibly powerful. Next, we got this Panzer II. This one has a pretty good gun. It's way better than this double machine gun one, and for the same price too. So I kind of have to compare them between each other. When this thing comes in, it's basically going to be the top of the food chain for maybe 2 or 3 minutes, because unless they bought a light AT gun or something, you're going to basically have run of the map for a few minutes. So for that reason, I think it is going to go B tier. I like this thing. It's pretty good. Just the armor and the weapon, it's just an all-around good early game vehicle. Falls off really quickly, but for those couple minutes, you're going to be really in control. So I like this a lot. I think B tier is completely fair. Very similar. The Flak Panzer is a flak gun version of this. It's more offense-based, but less defense, because it has low armor up here, and the whole thing's pretty low armor, but and it's more expensive. But I like this a lot better. I'd rather have 2 of these than one of the Flak Panzers. So I think it's going to go there. It's still very good. Both of these are very good. This one just has more offense, and this one has more defense, and is cheaper. So you'll have to decide which one you like better. This one's kind of a dark horse. This is a Stug and a half track and a pretty good infantry squad for 50 DP, which is not bad. At all. I think this is going to go B as well. This is no one ever uses this, but it's actually pretty good. That's a lot of units. That's a big power spike right there. Half track for pushing, the Stug for anti-tank, and then you got an infantry squad. It's kind of like everything you need to do a push. So if you're doing good, this can help you capitalize. If you're doing bad, this can help you get out of a bad situation. It's kind of a stimulant, basically. So I really like it. I think it's very good. Okay, we have the Sturmpanzer 4. This thing's great. This thing's S tier for sure. direct comparison will be the this big boy, but the issue is you can get 5 shots out of this guy and 1 shot out of that guy in the same time. So the destructive power is actually more on this one, and you have room for error. So if you miss a shot, it's not the end of the world. Where this one, if you miss a shot, you mean you've really made a big mistake. Armor is very good as well, especially the sloped how sloped it is. It is not invincible though, so be careful. Tanks of its tier and then above it can easily pen it, so just be careful. But it is fairly well armored. Just be smart about it. Use it like an artillery piece. Keep cover in between you and the tanks, and you should be fine. It can take out anything. It can take out Super Pershing. It's basically the best tank destroyer in the game, I think. Basically, well, other than the Big Daddy version, but for the price and the reload, I actually like it better. Um, I think this is going to go. I'll just do it now since it's the same doctrine and we're just going to talk about it right now. I think this goes in B tier. I like it too. It's very good, but just that reload and just it's mainly the reload is the big thing holding it back, and a little cheaper. So I like this version a lot better. Okay, Wesp is pretty solid. I think Wesp is B tier. Um, I don't like the Toad Arty, but I do like the Tracked Arty. Gives you some defense, way easier to micro. You can just move it right away. Um, they're good. They're solid. Wesp is also special too because it can also be an anti-tank gun too, and a pretty capable one at that. So Wesp is nothing to sleep on. It's B tier. It's probably mid-level B tier. It's pretty good. Um, Next, we got the Panther, sorry, Aced. I don't like this thing. I think it suffers the same thing as the Tiger. I think it's a little too expensive for what it is. That's why I'm going to put it in C tier. It's not bad, but for 90 DP, just for a Panther is a tough swallow for me. That's a lot of DP for a normal tank, even though it is aced out. I realize, but yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the aced out tanks. I think they're a little expensive, so it's going in C. Next, we have the King Tiger B, and that's going to A tier. It's extremely solid, but the reason it's not S or S plus is the CP. So your 25% of your army is in a single tank, and that is extremely limiting. It's going to limit your ability to hold areas. It's going to remove your scouting abilities. It's going to really put a damper on everything else. Now, it's the best tank in the game. There's no denying that, but 50 DP is a huge hindrance on it, along with the Ferdinand as well, which I'm realizing is also 52 DP. But yeah, that's the super heavy tanks are big on the CP, so you have to be careful about that. That's why they're not S plus, because they do have downsides that are sort of hidden with this CP. So obviously a really good tank, better than the Ferdinand. Let's be real, but still. Well, that's the King Tiger, and that's offense. Super good doctrine, probably one of the best doctrines for the Germans. I mean, easily the best doctrine. They got some solid stuff in there. Okay, next we're on support. And first off, we got this supply officer. I think this is low C or maybe high D, depending on if you can remember to use it. I'm going to put it probably C. If you're unaware, it has smoke grenades that call down ammo supply. So if you can remember, you can get a couple MP value from it. But overall, for 10 DP for an officer, it's not like you get 3 officers. It's still only allowed 2, so not great. Definitely low C tier. The Wind, this thing's S plus, which might be surprising to you, but Panzer IV chassis right off the bat on the first call in with 4 2-centimeter guns is absurd. This thing is, I was saying that the other, what was it? The Panzer II with a flak on it was King of the Jungle, but this thing is the King, top predator when you get it, and nothing's going to be able to come near you. So it's super good. It's really good. Wipes out infantry. Light T70s are going to get shredded if you're smart about it. It's really good. It is pretty vulnerable in the turret here. All the ammo's kept here, so that's not great. But in terms of just killing potential, there's really nothing on the first tier that's coming close to it. So it's S plus. Really hard not to get good value from it. It's just going to shred, and then just make sure you're pushing with it, and then don't let it get Panzerfausted. And in the early game, it's going to be pretty good. So easy S plus. Ostwin, this is the second version of this, and this is going to be way less good because by the time this comes in, you're going to be facing stuff that can kill it. So for that reason, I think it's C tier, and probably low C tier at that. I don't really like this thing very much because, like I said, by the time you call it in, there's going to be Shermans running around. So it's really loses a lot of its power. This is basically like a early game win button, and then this is just a wet fart. So yeah, not a fan of it. This is a Puma with a short barrel. I'm not actually sure, but it's called by some kind of assault gun scout car. This thing's great. This thing's I'm going to put it right next to the Puma. Actually, maybe above it. I do like this thing a little bit more. It has more acceleration. Um, it can be better used as an assault gun against infantry, and mostly it's that acceleration. This thing is so zippy. This is what you wanted the Puma to be for zippiness. So I really like this thing. This thing's A tier, and I really enjoy this thing. Recon plane S plus. Information is power. Uh, it's like having map hacks for a little while. Big fan of the recon plane. I think it's absolutely top tier. Next, we got the half track with a 7.5 in it. This thing's really good. It's really expensive. I wish this thing was. Well, I wish this thing could be five cheaper. There is another version in the all round that has a half track that's quite a bit slower, and I wish that one was 35, and I wish this one was 40, so it's a little overpriced. This thing cannot die. You have to get 2 kills with this thing to make you have to be super careful. It's paper thin, but if you need something to flank, if you're high skill, you can really do some damage with this because you can be on one side of the map and 30 seconds later you're on the other side of the map. This is like the zippiest vehicle other than maybe this scout car here. Really fun to use, super high skill cap. I think it's going to go S tier. Very expensive though. Wish it was cheaper, but I think it's S tier. Probably low S tier, but very good. I'm a big fan of it. Next we got the grill. This is another piece of arty that I like. I like all these tracked arties. I think they're solid. Um, this in the West, I think the Wesp is better because it can engage tanks, and this is only high explosive. You can decrew tanks, but that's just semantics. I think low B tier is fair. Just a pretty standard arty in a chassis that doesn't die to one hit, so I like that a lot. So B tier. 8.8 pack. This is pretty similar to the flak, honestly. I think it has maybe higher muzzle velocity, but in either case, they're super hard to use, just like the flak. Um, you'll struggle getting value out of them. As soon as the enemy knows they're there, they're gonna stay clear of that area, arty this to death, and you've just lost 75 DP. These are priced really well, like that's pretty fair for what you get, but using them is just so hard. I don't think it's worth the effort. Carl Gustav, this thing's sort of a meme. It is pretty effective, but with how easy it is to destroy, if you don't know, you just shoot the barrel, and it's a one-hit kill basically with any kind of medium tank. So pretty easy to kill, and super slow, super easy to kill with an airstrike. But it's fun. It's a meme, and yeah, that's Carl Gustav. Next, we got this arty here. Again, I think all the toad arty are pretty bad. I don't even want to distinguish between them because they're all just equal. They're just D tier, and they're all in their own place in D tier, and they can go to hell. They're just not good. Okay, next we got the Yag Tiger. This thing suffers from the exact same thing as the Yag Panther in that the AI will turn it and be stupid and get itself killed. The top cheek here is pretty lightly armored, and anything even one tier below, like up-barreled Shermans, will be able to pen through it. So if you can't babysit this, it's going to be C, and if you can, it's going to be B. I know this is going to make people angry, but a huge issue with the AI turning the tank. Yeah, so you have to be super careful. I'm not a huge fan of it. It's very slow, and you're going to be able to pen stuff easier if you just play smart with infantry and kill the allies' heavy tanks. This is overkill. Again, it's 52 CP. That's a quarter of your army. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the Yag Tiger here, or the Yag Panther for that matter. That turning issue is pretty bad. So that's support. Okay, next we got all round. There's some pretty good stuff here. First off, we got the Flame half track. This thing is S plus. This thing is crazy. Super early call-in with 2 flames on it, on either side, and an MG in the front and the back, I believe. I think there's an MG on the back. I can't actually remember. In either way, this thing's crazy. This thing's so easy to get. You can basically win the entire game with a good push with this thing. If it comes out of nowhere, there's nothing the enemy can do, and you just flame them all down. This thing is crazy. This thing is S plus tier. It's really hard not to get a lot of value from it. 10 DP. It's so cheap. It's S plus tier. Just a funny little vehicle, but you get it so early that it can get so much done for you. I think S plus is fair for it. You haven't tried it out, try it out. It's really good. Not very good is this one. This is sort of caught in between a hard place because the vehicle above it and below it are way better than it, so it's sort of just it's lost in the shuffle. So it's going to go C tier. It's got a a single autocannon on it, and a couple infantry. But the column right after it gets 3 cannons, and the one before it is super cheap. So it's sort of a middle child that doesn't really excel at anything. So it's going to go C tier. It's okay. It's not horrible, but I mean, if it was in a different doctrine, it would be good. But in this doctrine, smushed up between such good call-ins, I can't put it anywhere but C. Here's his big brother. It's got 3 barrels. This thing is high B. This thing is really good. This thing shreds. It does have pretty short range, but it's very good. Shreds infantry. Like maybe the best shredder of infantry in the game. It just mows people down. It's also just fun to use. Yeah, so B tier. It's good, solid 20 DP. I mean, that's pretty hard to beat for the killing power you get. Next, we got this pack 7.5 and a half track with a track. So we're directly comparing it to this 7.5 with wheels. The issue is this thing is so much slower. This thing is terribly slower, but still a good, pretty good piece of kit. It is a little expensive. I wish it was 35, and I wish this one was 40. So it's going mid B tier. So 2 down from the other one, just because of that speed. This thing is so zippy. You can zip and hit a side shot and just be gone before anyone knows what's going on. So this one not so much. Sort of this one's for offense and this one's for defense, basically. Is how I would imagine it. Next we got the Nashorn. I think this is straight D tier. This thing has the same gun as the Tiger 2, but 0 armor basically. This thing is 85 DP compared to the King Tiger, so I'd rather just save up. This is so redundant. This should be in another doctrine because it's literally the same doctrine. You're gonna get the same gun, but actually have the best armor in the game. So I don't see why you would use this thing. It's pretty slow, super slow reverse. So if you miss that first shot, then goodbye 85 DP. You just lost your 85 DP. So not a fan of it. I think it's D tier. I think it's probably one of the worst units on the German roster. That's just how I feel. Next, we got the Hummel. This thing's pretty good. I kind of see it pretty close to the grill here. I don't see too much of a difference because the grill has a faster reload and this thing has a slower reload. So if you want to get more kills in one go, this is better. If you miss a lot, then this is better. So both quality. This one is a little more expensive. They both have basically no armor, but they'll be able to shrug off a couple already hits and go yellow instead of just exploding like these guys down here. So they're solid. Solid B. Next, we got the second rocket here. Honestly, I have trouble telling the difference between these guys. I even went into a custom game just earlier, and very hard to tell the difference. I think they're functionally very similar. Yeah, so I don't have much to say. Very similar to the other rocket. Yeah, I couldn't. I tested it out on some guys, and I couldn't really tell too much of a difference. So yeah, I mean it's basically the same price, and it has 1 MG instead of 2, but that's obviously not why you buy it. But there it is. And then we have another Tiger. This one's a little worse than the other Tiger, so we're just going to put a red behind, and there's a redundant Hardy Sailor. So that's the German Doctrine as I see it in the tier list. If you have any questions or comments, leave them below, and it was nice to talk to you. Goodbye.